Hey y'all, thought I would do a little bit of a video on the F5F. Thank you for hanging in. I know it's been a long time since I posted a video. Be honest, I just haven't felt the drive to play warplanes, especially over Christmas and with some of the stuff afterwards. That certainly hasn't improved any with the announcement of the 410 Premium or the Lancaster Premium, either one. But I thought, why not? And the TLDR of this video is, this is a little Tier 5 Premium that's for sale right now, and the long and short of it is it's not great, especially in a meta that wargaming is creating where you're going to be facing off against, pretty strong Tier 6 heavies and bombers. Then this is just something you probably want to not fiddle with, if we're being honest, because your chances of getting put into a match with those Tier 6s is pretty solid. And beyond that, you also have to deal with the fact that there are other Tier 5 heavies that are quite good as well, right? And that's a problem. So for now, though, let's talk about this plane. You got two Madsen 23s. The 23s are better than you might think. I think they overheat a little too quickly for my taste, but I can certainly understand the firepower that they do bring, which is pretty nice, and they are pretty comfortable to use. Let me say that as well. They're fairly accurate. They feel fairly accurate, at least. So, and you have some decent characteristics on this plane. It is fairly fast, particularly for a Tier 5. And you do get to carry a little bit of bombage there. They're not huge. They're 100-pounders, but if you need an extra little sight flipped, they don't penalize you too much for what they do. And so, I think for me, it's worth carrying them. They may not be true for you. I think it's probably 6 of one, half dozen of another. You may be excited by that. You may not be. And I think either way, you're probably going to be fine. It's probably not going to be a big deal. So, all right, we're going to dive on this P-43, trying to take him out of the equation. I probably should have stayed up and dealt with the bomber, but we will do this instead. We're going to get out to 1,000 meters or so, and then loop back around on him. And looks like he's ignoring us, much to his peril. So we're going to wait again until we've got a little bit. And you can see just pulsing. These guns do a fairly good job shredding out. Go ahead and take care of the IL-2 while we're here. There's still that bomber up high as well. B-17. But I think I will clear this IL first. We're just going to go up and down. Make these diving attacks as much as we can. I mean, my teammates seem to have this well in hand, as you can see. So we're not too worried about having to rush this. And this is kind of what I do in this aircraft. There's a lot of light fighters, even at Tier 5, that can absolutely dice this thing up. And maybe we'll see some of that. I'm going to play 2 or 3 battles in it, try to give you an idea. We're close enough to the bomber now. He's doing enough damage. We're just going to go ahead and head on up and put these Madsens to work on him. We're going to hit the boost cooler as well. We don't want to let him get another pass, and we will undo some of the work that he has done. And we have air superiority, so this is going to be a very short match as well. And as you can see, unchallenged and unchecked, like any heavy fighter, it does very well. The P-43 is back. So let's clear him out then. Not sure what he's up to. Oh, he's okay, he's going to turn a circle. We're just going to clear as much of his HP off as we can in this pass. And then roll on out. Yeah. So very short. You kind of see the flight characteristics in this sense. You do have good altitude. You have the guns are decent, but that's not a lot of forward firepower. So this is not a plane you want to do any head-ons with, right? And you do have a little bit of bombs. In that sense, I guess it functions a little more like some of the British heavies, where it lands more on that multi-role side of the equation as opposed to sitting on that true heavy fighter, bomber, interceptor side of the equation. And so as a result of that, it's sort of in an odd duck location for heavies. It doesn't necessarily perform the way the game expects heavies to perform these days. And that can be problematic if you're trying to do well with it. So there you go. Not bad altogether. We captured 2 zones, I think. Yeah, 2. This Beaufighter doing, putting in work. I think this is a Tech Tree Beaufighter. So 3 sectors. Done a lot of damage to ground targets and sort of that multi-role. But this is a good comparison, right? So this is a tier 5 heavy fighter, of course, specialized from the Tech Tree. And 1,300 aerial damage, 6 targets destroyed. We did 4 and 1,200 aerial damage. So again, the cannons aren't bad. And we did 3,400 ground targets. He did 1,600, right? So kind of in that vein, this is just, it doesn't have the firepower, air or ground to really do what it needs to do. But it does have pretty good altitude performance, as you can see here in that 1,800 category, and decent enough maneuverability for a heavy. But not exactly lighting the world on fire, if you will. So we're going to do another battle. I will pause it here, and we will take back off when we hit the second battle. All right, so battle number 2. We're in Asian border. We have a 3 garrison, 2 military base map. It's a 3v3. Pair of Spitfires, Beaufighter, me, P-43. I think he was on my last match. They might have, I don't remember if they were with me or against me. Anyway, fairly interesting lineup then, and especially that Matchmaker does, what it does here, although the population is fairly low, I'm sure. So let's see where our Beaufighter goes. He's going to go cap the rocket base. Very good. I will go here to this garrison because that's not the map where that's a command center. I'm not going to worry as much about it, particularly as a heavy. So I'm just going to get high, and we're going to go work this garrison, and then I'll head over to their rocket base and see if I can work it up as well. Go into a little bit of a shallow dive, get that aiming ring done. And you can see it's a 60-second reload on the bombs, so even though they're not very powerful, they do come back. So you can use them pretty much in every zone. You do not want to take a head-on with those guys. As I said, we're not really equipped with the firepower to do that. But we can get them in a circle here, and we can get on their tail and kind of out-turn them and burn them down. Again, you see the Madson's doing pretty well there. This is, of course, on tier ADAs, though. If this were a tier 6 match, I'm not sure we'd be burning through the ADAs as quickly as we are, right? Sometimes that can make a big difference when you're top tier versus bottom tier. So, all right, we're going to dip a little bit, get some of that speed back. And they have not captured this rocket base, so let's put the boost cooler on and really just lean into this charge. And because our bombs will be back, we might can get those on a sub-target, small target somewhere in there, and see if we can prevent the capture. Seems like there was a bomber over there. You see all the explosions going off down low there. So we're not able to see it because of the clouds that are interfering with that right now. Get a little lower, see if we see anything here. Okay, good. So here's 2 targets that are almost dead. Let's do that and that. And let's put a hurting on this guy. And that'll work. Between that, we cleared out all the cap space. You see the LBS SH over here trying to reach out and touch. We won't let it do that. We'll avoid the heavy fighter. Avoid the heavy fighter. And you know what? Since there's some ADAs up here, we'll clock those guys first. And we'll save the... oh, actually, this AR-2 is looking very tasty here. Because he's so far low in health. And we'll get credit for the kill. Then we can do this one. Yeah, no, I just put that heavy on my tail. Okay, let's wing down a little bit there. I'm actually going to turn and go for this guy. Between that wing crit and the being on the outside of my speed regime there, you saw the yellow pop up. I think this guy's going to try and head on. Yeah, I'm low on HP. I don't want to take that. We're just going to go. We're going to go, and I know he doesn't have the altitude that we have. So we're just going to wiggle a little, and we're going to boost on up and drag him up with us. So we're just going to try a gentle turn here. Yeah. He's not able to stand up with us, I don't think. We just need to put ourselves into this turn again. We're going to wait for that meter to drop. Yep, did you see it? Oh, wow, he kept up. So did he save his boost until then, we wonder? Who knows? All right, he's dropping down now. So we're going to drop down on top of him, hopefully. Oh, there we go. We're down to 4 HP. That was cutting it pretty close. This bot bomber decides to put his guns on us, we could be in trouble. Nope. Or he could wing back over and ram us. It's not what I expected, but with bots, it's rarely what you expect, right? So, so far we've seen, again, this handles just fine against lower tiers. You know, I don't think we're going to see the same performance against upper tiers. Ironically, I made a video on this plane a year ago and never published it. Just for whatever reason, did not get it out the door. I went back and reviewed that video. It was not a bad video. Didn't feel like I didn't push it out for any particular reason other than I just never did. So we'll head over here. That rocket base may have it capped. Where does Dead Finger want me? C8. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, okay. Alright, our rockets are going to get that. What we need to do is start clearing out some of their players. Honestly, it probably doesn't matter at this point. That was smart. You saw him tip his wings, same as I did. We're trying to avoid those crits. I'm just going to get it about 20 degrees and keep rolling here. We don't want to get engaged in a turn fight with both of those guys at the same time. This Spitfire is already halfway dead. He is maneuvering, though. Alright, he's out. We didn't get it in time, but that's okay. Like I said, we're so far up, it probably didn't matter at this point. I'm surprised we haven't hit Squall Line yet, but... Okay. I see him. You guys see him? Were you watching the mini-map? I was. It's that P-36 again. We're just going to drain him of energy. Going to circle at 2400. He's coming up. He's using his boost to get up now, right? And we'll go ahead and tip over. And down he goes. Let's see. Our rocket base is attacking this area here again. By the way, just as a reminder, if you haven't watched videos before or weren't sure about this, you know, cardinal rule of heavy fighters is kind of stay up high, right? That's one of the things that helps. So, helps you deal with enemy aircraft. There we go. So, good mission on that one. Even more personal points and more takedowns. So, even better. That said, I'm really hoping for our third match we see up tiers, so we can kind of look at that. I think I got this out of a crate a while ago. This is not one I picked up for myself. It was not one I had any interest in. This was I think a mini marathon back in the day, if I remember right. So again, up against the same tier heavy fighter. You know, look, we did about the same amount of damage, same amount of kills, but he's got way more ground targets, right? So there is that. I'm surprised he didn't cap anything. It's interesting. Must have been frustrating. Maybe he was up against the Spitfires. Let's see. Crashed. Oh yeah, I see reset. Yeah, so I'm not sure what happened there, but performance-wise, we're not that far off in terms of what the planes did. And at the end of the day, you got to decide: do you want to spend that money for something that's just going to be a little different? Particularly when there's already Tier 6 U.S. heavy fighters that are really good. 3 of them: XP-54, P-38L, and the XP-50, which is kind of the unsung hero of the bunch. It's not as good, but still a good plane. Do you really want a Tier 5 U.S. heavy, right? That's kind of the question mark that plagues you. And if you're a collector or you just like oddball planes, I think this is certainly one to do because it is so markedly different from some of the others. But if you were looking for something that's an everyday grind kind of aircraft, I'm not sure this is for you, and I'm not sure it's worth the money in that sense. So we'll do one more. Let's see if we can get up tiered. Hopefully, cross your fingers so you guys can see what this thing looks like against Tier 6s, particularly against Tier 6 heavies is what we want to see. So we'll be right back. All right, we are back. And we are up tiered. So there you go. And we'll be facing off against no other Tier 6 heavies, but we do have a Key 88 and 0, and then a specialized P40 at Tier 5. So that's good. This will let you see some decent opposition and what it looks like when that happens. So we'll see where the Spits are headed. My guess is the middle. They'll probably want to lock that down. I'd like to go to the left airbase. I would. I'm not sure that's the smart goal, though. I think what we want to do is, this one's closer. We want to cap what we can as quickly as we can and then move on. Sometimes the air bases can be tricky to flip. And so if something goes wrong, we could be in big trouble in terms of them having a base or 2 bases even and us not having anything. So let's avoid him. There we go. The other heavy is passing below us. We're actually going to dive on this boomerang because he's climbing and moving slowly. And as a result, so you can see we don't knock down those ADAs nearly as quickly with twin Madsons at Tier 6, do we? That's a bot, so I'm not worried about stealing a kill there. All right, we got a pair of multi-rolls over here at the airfield, and it hasn't been taken yet, so that's good. We'll dip a little bit to get back in our optimal range, optimal altitude, I guess I should say, 1800. There we go, and then we'll just burn it over this way. This Focke-Wulf is a tasty kind of half-dead target. Good dive. I should have. Yeah, I'm more worried about these guys. Let's get this heavy up here. I'm worried about the mosquito, though. Or hurricane, whatever that is. Yeah, okay, he peeled off. So we were very close to flipping this zone. Let's go ahead and flip it. I got somebody on my tail behind me. It's a light fighter. It's probably the P40. Yeah. So I'm not sure we're going to make this work, but we'll try. And let's dive out. Okay, he's turning off at the 1200 meter mark. We can't go head to head with him. I'm not sure that's a smart idea, and there's definitely other enemies here, and they are decapping this base, and I'm going to help them do that. But for the purposes of the video, I'm going to do what I normally would not do. And we're just going to push in. I'm going to dive out, especially since he's faster than me. This is the best way to go. I'm going to hit this guy. Probably not best because I'm losing altitude and looping down. But it will stall the cap on this zone for a little while. If I can kit him. Of course I can't. There you go. There's the bad guns at work. Oh, good. We got him. So we're going to go away. We're going to get out of this zone as best we can. Just on the floor, trying to get out as quickly as possible. So. And they actually let me go. Probably smart on their part. They're going to eventually cap that and come looking for extras, but for now, let's keep moving. I see ground targets over there. We've almost got our boost cooler back, and actually while we're at it, It's F for the P-40 over there. We'll go see if we can clear out these ground attack aircraft. That is, after all, what heavies are good for, in some sense. And we're facing an IL-2. And whatever the other one is. HS-129B. Ugly duck. Literally. Literally an ugly duck. And let's wing over. Got our bombs back, so we can do some damage there as well. 129B is gone. I must have set that other ADA on fire, is what I'm guessing happened. Bank some energy there by going up and coming back down again. And we're going to go clear out these bombers next. We're inside the zone? Yes? Good. Okay. So that'll give us some capture points towards that. And let's get up here and deal with enemy bombers, especially this Ju-88. Got decent climb rate on this, I think, for a heavy. Feels pretty good. All right, he's coming back into the zone, so this is when we want to get rid of him. There we go. Where'd the other one go? He's directly ahead of me. Okay. Good. We'll see if we can lure up the P-40. We might be able to take him at, in a kind of altitude game. If he decides to play our game instead of his game. If he decides to come up after us. But the P-40 is such a strong aircraft, it's entirely possible that that goes sideways. We're not getting run into again. We've been there before, haven't we? All right, let's see if we can get over. I want to get him before he gets outside of the zone. Yeah, there we go. All right. Okay, that 0 is way up where he doesn't need to be. And I've got plenty of boost. So let's see if we can clock. Okay, he went down. There you go. Madsen's failing again, particularly against a tier 6. Ooh, that's a heavy. Decent roll rate on this. I guess I should mention that as well. That's actually a very solid benefit. You don't have a lot of heavies that have a decent roll rate. All right. Got this under control. What are we looking at? Corner there has a lot of bad guys in it. Let's go this way. Let's see if we can flip this airfield. Stay on the offensive, right? So we'll get the boost cooler and move over. Not as much action in this one as the last one. All right. Got some bombs we can unload here. Should we desire. Okay. Make sure we don't let him on our tail. He's going outside the zone. I do see, yep, there's the 0 that spawned. He did a good job avoiding us there. Exactly what you want to do. However, we can play an altitude game with him, even at, with him being a tier up from us. So, let's see what we can do here. He turned too early, and he's on fire. So, I don't know that he's going to survive that. We'll see. Yeah, he's playing up a little too high for that plane, even though he's a tier up. And we have good long-range guns that can kind of finish off an aircraft that's a little low like that. Let's avoid this heavy. We still need our wing to come back. And just get on his tail if we can. We're so slow. Thankfully, there's not any light fighters like that P-40 around to take advantage of that. But if this were a more populated game or there were an enemy heavy around, it might be an issue. So, okay. So we got the A6 out after Squall, actually. Oh, and the P-40 is out as well. So looks like that might have been the work of one of the Spitfires, perhaps the DB there. And one bomber is down. There's only 6 aircraft left. There's an IL-2 below us. There's a bomber up here, so let's go work him over. And, oh, this game's over anyway. See, that's what I get for... I'm watching the mini-map and not the counter. Should be watching the counter up there. So there you go. You saw it was a little more challenging, right? At an up tier, and there's a point where we just had to leave against that P40. And if he had really wanted us, he could have easily chased us down and taken us out of the match. That may not have been in his best interest, but he could have made that decision and done that. So, in that sense, this is not a plane that really has a lot of options for dealing with the things that attack it, right? The things that would prey on the skyrocket here are... there's not a lot of answers to them, right? So something to keep in mind if it is one that you decide you would like to pick up. And again, I would be very wary. The 410 marathon is going. People are going to have those on day one. They're going to buy the certificates and put it in the air. So, a day or two from now or this weekend, you're going to have 410s with 50 millimeter cannons flying everywhere. As soon as that happens, people are going to bring out P38s to deal with them. The P38L and the P38J both. When that and the XP54 and the XP50, they're all going to come out. All those things are going to be working. And then on top of that, we know that there's just been pilots added for a future marathon that are Key 102 and P38J pilots who do significant increases to those. That information was dropped in the Discord today. It was mined out by one of the European server players. And those pilots are not broken or anything. I'm not saying that, but they are strong and people will want to fly them, right? So you've got that going on. So you're just entering an environment with this plane where it's just not conducive probably to having a lot of fun with it. It's part of the reason I wanted to go ahead and do this video now and show you everything, because it's going to get worse as time goes on. So my TLDR, if you're a collector, you want to have some fun with it, sure, jump in, enjoy yourself. It is a funky little plane. It is very different from other heavies. Good idea. If you're not a collector, if you're looking for a grinder, this is not it. If you're someone who doesn't have a lot of money to spare, don't waste your money on this. There are other things you could and should be spending your money on instead of this, even though it's not terrible in some sense. It's still not up there. It's another reminder that there are a lot of planes in the game and that Wargaming has not done a balance pass since 2018. And so just that's what you're getting. You're getting a plane that has not been balanced in the last 7 years and really could use a balance pass along with just about everything else in the game. So hopefully one day they will decide to do that, but today is not that day. And until then, this is more of a collector aircraft than a useful aircraft for you at tier 5 or for you in your grind. So it's good to be back on the video and in the air with you. I have also been playing a lot of World of Tanks Blitz. I do have some videos about that coming in. It was a nice switch for me from regular World of Tanks, and has been a lot of fun. And so I do intend to put a couple of videos out about that as well. And last thing, plug for 3-2-1s on Friday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. A couple of the clans have done this. We've been dropping 20 or 30 people into the game at a time, filling up 2 or 3 matches with just as many players as possible on Friday nights. It's great fun. Even if you are not wanting to drop by the Discord and deal with the cacophony of a lot of people talking, log into the game at 10 p.m. on Fridays and have some fun with us. You'll see a lot of players in the air. It'll be a full server for sure. So that's been a lot of fun as well. So until then, whether you're pursuing the 410 or just kind of casually rolling around or collecting F5Fs for a rocket ride, good luck to you and good hunting.